So
Dude.
iframes. So about Rise iframes. We haven't even talked about Monster Hunter on this pod today.
We
have
haven't at all.
It's
I don't
great.
think we have. No, we haven't talked about it at all. Iframes.
Yeah, iframes. So you posted
Did I
this
put
about
that in? I did.
Yeah, you did that. Yeah, and I saw a post that was recently about it too.
I was thinking about it. I read on Twitter, fucking Rise iframes have dropped on your roll. I think it's like a couple frames off, whatever.
It was 6, now it's 4.
The bigger deal there is the fact that we're used to 60 FPS Monster Hunter, and we're now playing FPS on 30. So
and
4
6
is
frames.
Yeah. So 4 is 2, right? Which is why it feels harder to iframe shit. I kind of noticed it, but not hugely. I still think it's fine. But it got me thinking about how we would feel about making it bigger, making it smaller. And then I started thinking about how different iframes are in MH compared to every other game that revolves around them, right? Like, dude, Dark Souls iframes, there are so many.
Dude, you get like
your
50.
roll is huge. Yeah, it's massive. And like there are, nowadays there's a lot of games where you roll and you get iframes, right? It's like a very common thing. Pretty much every game with a combat system has that now. And all the time it's so heavy. Like you have so many iframes. MH is really tight.
So,
really tight. To the point where you don't rely on them that heavily.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, like prior to World, I never calculated iframe roars. Like it was just not
really.
It was just like that's the way. No, like without earplugs, I never really like consistently iframed roars in old World Monster Hunter. It was just like
that was
the
like
window
my
was
favorite thing.
Too small for me to do consistently. I block them and stuff, and it happened. It's not like it never happened, but like all the time, it was just like,
oh yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense too.
Like
especially
compared
with
to World,
CB because you can choose.
Yeah, with like World, it's like it doesn't matter what it is. I'm iframing 90% of the monster's roars. Like
very
if I'm not stuck in an animation or something. In old World, it was like I didn't really iframe roars all the time. It would like I'd try to do it and usually miss it, and that would be expected. Like in
since
World,
you played so
like
much CB,
but even before Charge played, like with Longsword and stuff, like I didn't really iframe roars all that often. Like in Try and 3U, and well, I mean Try, I was learning the game, that wasn't really a thing, but in like 3U and stuff, I didn't like iframe roars. I mean, you couldn't underwater anyway.
So dumb. I don't know. I think it's interesting. They work really weird. They're so small, and like, I think it's the only game with that kind of mechanic where it's like iframes are good, but there's a lot of attacks that you can't iframe. And in general, it's more about positioning than iframes, right? Because you're in animation lock a lot in MH. So, if you're iframing everything, you're most likely actually not playing very well, right? It's like it's more about being in the right spot so that you don't have to iframe, and the iframe is like a backup. Whereas like Dark Souls and stuff, it's like that's like the whole fucking game. So it's interesting. I think it's cool. I never really thought about it. In terms of increasing it or decreasing it, I think I'm not fussed about them decreasing it. It doesn't affect me too much. I'm not like super upset about it. I think the stuff that you would usually iframe, you're gonna iframe anyway. And I think increasing it is overall a bad idea. I think it's cool how it's unique. And
like drastically increasing it.
Yeah, I mean, like we get like 20 frames, like a huge increase.
Would be crazy.
A big part of like the learning curve of MH is learning how to use them, because it's not just like get better at them, right? It's like learning where to use them is like a real fun part of the game, and a real fun part of like learning monsters, and like learning when you can iframe something is like satisfying, right? Because there's like a level of trial and error to it. I think if they just made it like here's 20 frames when you press the fucking B button, it's like, man, fucking, I'm not
dodge
really
Well,
about
everything.
that.
with SNS, I mean, you press guard and back, and you got 20 frames right there.
I forgot about
Yeah.
that. That's so
Yeah,
fucking
that's crazy.
nuts.
But that's also a combo,
Startup there.
right? Like, yeah.
Startup
Like
is a
you
thing.
go into that, you can't roll after you do that, right? You back hop
After
and you
you
have
do
to
the
choose
back step?
something. Yeah. You have to slash or you have to
yeah.
perfect rush, and then you can roll. So it's a commitment.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 20 frames and then a commitment, but it's still a commitment. And you can only do it from, I mean, yes, it's pretty free comparatively, but it's still an input, and it's an input that can be fucked up because I fuck it up all the goddamn time.
A lot.
Yeah. So like it's a huge window, but it does cost. I mean, it's just like all the options, like, right? Like longsword and longsword foresight and, you know, rage slash super armor, like all, it's just options. But yeah.
Evasion doesn't affect those anymore though.
No.
It's always a flat 20 now.
Wait, it doesn't affect the back op for SNS either?
Nope.
Oh shit.
Just 20.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. Oh, that's what this is saying.
Which means that
that's
like,
what I'm looking at, right? Sword and shield backstep 20, level 5 20. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh, but it affects the other ones though. It affects
it affects the regular like
hammer, dodge bolt.
Yeah.
Step. Cool. But it doesn't affect longsword, sword and shield, hunting horn. Oh, it doesn't affect hunting horn. Wait, insect glaive recall? There's iframes on that?
It's the art, not the art. Sorry, the wire bug recall.
Oh, okay.
You know how like one of the wire bug moves is you like bounce, you fling yourself backwards, and the insect like comes back to you. So yeah, there's
okay.
You don't use it because it's useless.
That
It's what you choose. Yeah, it replaces the dives. You never use it. But I was the same. I was like, what the fuck? Why have we got 15 frames of fucking invincibility recalling that shit? No way. Like, but no, it's not real. Because I saw it and I tested it. I was like, what the fuck? Like,
it's like, holy shit.
It's not a thing. Yeah, it's not a thing. So it's the wire bug thing. It's kind of annoying because it's like recall kinset is the name of the wire bug action. I kind of wish this chart like highlighted that as like blue or something.
It was called a wire bug. Yeah.
It's because it's kind of a confusing thing.
Yeah. Only other game that I play that is similar to iframe stuff is PSO2, but it takes it kind of in like a different direction where I don't know what the frame data is, but it's not like a lot, but the game expects you to do it, right? Like you're not really ever expected to iframe too often in Monster Hunter. Like you can do it and it's beneficial to do it, but there's very few situations where it's like, oh, I have to iframe this or else I'm going to get hit or die or whatever. There are so many situations in PSO2 where it's like you are meant to iframe this or you get hit for 80% of your health and that's it. And it's kind of crazy. If you don't have like a guard or parry or something, at least in current PSO2, NGS, it seems a bit different. It seems better in my opinion, but in like towards like late game PSO2 stuff now, like there's some stuff where you just gotta fucking iframe over and over, or like that's it. Like Masquerade and what is it, Sodam or whatever. Have you done any of those, Mike? The Masquerade or Sodam depth?
I've done Masquerade like 35 times, and then I didn't do Sodam yet because PSO2 is off of my SSD right now.
Oh, you uninstalled it?
Yep.
Oh shit.
I mean, until NGS is out, yeah.
Oh damn! What made you just uninstall? Were you just out of space, or were you just like, man, fuck this game?
I needed space. Too many recordings on this shit. So
yeah, it's a big ass game too. It's like 80 gigs.
Yep.
Yeah, that shit's stuck on my damn computer.
Wait, you can't delete that?
I can't find it. Fucking Microsoft.
All right. Well, I'll help you figure out where that shit is because it is annoying. But yeah, you can get it off.
Pissing me off.
But yeah, that's
I googled it for
that
like
was
2
really,
hours. Couldn't find it.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. But yeah, that's interesting because I saw this chart, but I didn't really look at it. My eyes kind of just glazed over. But yeah, that's interesting that they're doing that the way they are. But yeah, I don't think it needs to be changed. I'm okay with the 4. It kind of so like in older Monster Hunter, since iframing just was harder, at least to me, it felt harder. When you did get it, it was just like, oh, iframe the roar. Like it was always like super excited versus like World. It's like, I'm going to iframe this. And if I don't, like, fuck, what am I doing? Like, I'm an idiot. So
yeah,
that's
it's like a difference of like fucking when it happens, it feels good versus when it doesn't happen, it feels bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's that like difference there. Yeah.
It depends too, because like iframing like regular attacks without evasion is still hard.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. Yeah. And
it's
that's
like
the thing
if
with
you
it. No, you're good. No.
Huh?
Go. What were you saying? If you what? Mike.
Oh, if you wait until like the end of if you wait until the very end of like Rathian's tail whip, you can iframe that. Just roll into it and you won't get hit.
The double back doesn't hit you? Because that used to hit you.
Huh?
Because when Rathian tail whips, right, like you're on the ground, it tail whips like this. So there's this, and then it comes back around. The comeback around used to hit you.
Oh, no, I know that. Once the tail is like, when she initially does it, once it's like right here, you can roll into it.
But does it hit you when it comes back around, though? Because it used to. And that would be the bullshit.
No, I don't think it does that anymore. Unless you're like behind her.
I think it's weapon dependent too. I think it's like if you SNS, you can move a decent distance after the iframe. If that makes sense because of your walk speed. Whereas if you played CB, you probably couldn't. GS, you probably couldn't. I think it's weapon dependent.
Okay.
Because
that's the thing. I dodged the initial flip, and then her tail would come back around, and I'd still fucking get hit. Like, all right, well, what was the point of iframing that? But yeah, that's I don't remember what the fuck I was gonna say. I got bad brain, man.
Dude, I think we all got some bad brain today. It's all right. Get into it.
So yeah, what do we got? We got we're talking about iframes. Oh, and I guess that goes back to that's what I was saying. So with the iframes, like in Rise, since they they are harder because they're less frames. So when I get a little hype when I get some raw iframes now because it's like harder than it was in World. So like especially early Rise when I didn't actually know the number was smaller, but it just felt harder. It's like, oh shit, I got the iframe. Especially with the hammer step. The
water
no, not water. Well, I mean, water strike is sick.
Oh, you mean
when you change
the form change thing?
Yeah,
right?
that iframe feels good. Getting the roar on that, and then going right into the impact crater. Hammer's so sick. Hammer's so damn sick.
I still haven't played it at all. I haven't even like touched it in training mode and stuff. Seems cool though.
Oh man, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, so there's still some kind of hype when I do get iframes now in Rise because that makes sense because it's a bit harder.